Okay, so we're going to go back over what is crypto and how it could be used in the real world and its many different applications. Uh, I think this will be good for some of the beginners, as we've done in the last couple of weeks. We've gone deeper into the blockchain. We've explored decentralization last week. Now I'm the cherry on top, if you like, of that is the crypto. You have the sort of blockchain at the base, and you imagine the decentralized network that operates somewhere in the middle, and that links with the blockchain, and it links with the crypto side, which is where we interface with. So the crypto is the application of blockchain. So that's kind of like, see it as like a kind of like a tree, if you like, where the roots are like the blockchain. They're below ground, they're out of sight. Like we know those roots are creating the tree, just like we know that the blockchain code can create the crypto. And then you could say the trunk of the tree is like the nodes, it's the node holders, it's the decentralized exchange network that brings, you could say, the exchange in the tree is from the minerals and the water and the ground up to the branches and the leaves of the tree. And much the same way, the decentralized exchange and the nodes secure the network, they secure the decentralization, which delivers the privacy to the crypto. And the crypto can be interfaced with um, in many ways and through many different industries. And so that's what we're going to explore. So crypto, the word crypto is just a short term that comes from the word cryptography or encryption. So, so, so cryptography is the art of privacy and transparency within all communications and transactions. And the encryption comes from mathematical formulas, where we call them algorithms. The code is all mathematical, and we call them algorithms, but really they're numbers arranged in a certain sequence. Primarily, of course, ones and zeros, just ones and zeros. And numbers are actually representations of us. Numbers are like the number zero could be seen as the feminine principle. You could see that as like the woman's the womb, if you like, the circle or the ellipsoid, and the one is like the masculine principle. It is the creative principle, and between the masculine and the feminine, when they join, then they create a third principle, which we call matter. And in much the same way, the code combines to create things like crypto or our whole internet in this case. So the numbers are actually energies, they're energetic principles. Numbers also, even we are digital. People think of us as just a physical being, but we have our digital component as well. People don't think about it, don't realize it, but our DNA is our digital aspect, and that's what's created our body. So just in the same way, the blockchain, the digital world has created the internet, the blockchain has created the crypto. So it's just some analogies just to try and help you wrap your head around that this digital evolution is not so far out there. It's not as out there and as dystopian as a lot of people think. It's only seen the dystopian side when they're looking purely at the negative. And in another way, that while those ones and zeros, they are representations of positive and negative. They're actually like a battery, is a positive and negative. But you need the positive and the negative to make the battery work. And we got to start looking at the positive as well as the negative in this world. Otherwise, we will get carried away in la la land if we're all positive, and we'll get carried away with darkness and no hope if we're all negative. So that's just my little preamble to crypto. And with crypto, you get cryptocurrencies and you can get crypto assets. Are two very similar, synonymous things, but they have very different applications and functions, and they can both be interchangeable. So if you're holding a crypto token that's say like Chainlink. Chainlink is a decentralized protocol. It's helping to join this whole blockchain up. That is a really good, I believe, digital asset. So if effectively you've got a digital or a crypto shareholding, and as you're holding those tokens, you have rights to claim onto that project through the dividend. So you can get capital gain on that. But if you say wanted to sell something, or if you wanted to buy something, and the other person was prepared to take your Chainlink as payment, then you can do so. So if people deem it a satisfactory transaction, then basically the Chainlink could be a medium of exchange as well as a store of value. And that's what money and currencies are. And the fact is that cash is not a good store of value, and it's still hanging on as a medium of exchange, but it's a medium of an exchange of something that is losing its energy very, very quickly. And very soon it will be basically useless. So that's just the fact of the matter. And with cryptocurrencies, pure cryptocurrencies will be very few. Those are very like XRP. There's another one called WadsPay. XLM is another true cryptocurrency. You could say that Bitcoin was designed as a cryptocurrency, but that has become more of a store of value. It's not going to be able to be used as a payment for goods and services in store, but it can still be a good form of payment for other things, for assets, and for, again, if people agree to take Bitcoin and they're prepared to wait 10 minutes to 24 hours, then they can accept the Bitcoin. But the beauty is that those currencies, those true global or domestic currencies, can also appreciate in value, just like the Chainlink or just like other decentralized crypto tokens. So they're interchangeable as a capital gain asset that can pay a dividend. The dividend could be the staking, and it could be the capital gain. And the currencies can also operate as a currency and for the same reasons. They can also have capital gain. And that's a very powerful allegiance there, a very powerful tie-up. So basically, although I've kind of been explaining some of this slide, but cryptocurrency is also an alternative to cash. It's another option, another choice. We've never had another choice of currencies before. We've had to accept legal tender, government-denominated currency. That's what our cash is. It's basically government denominated. And yeah, when it goes into circulation, it's decentralized. In many ways, it's decentralized, but it's tethered to the debt of the whole system. And there's way more debt than there is cash in circulation. And when the debt goes off, when the debt bomb goes off, your cash will be basically worthless overnight. And that's just what's coming. You can't reinflate the cash unless, I think what they're going to do is they're going to turn fiat into a stable coin, or purely blockchain digital currency, and then they'll be forced to back it with an asset like gold, and then you can reinflate or re-energize that as a currency. But it will be in quite a different form. It'll only be available online only. Cash as physical cash will eventually just be taken out of circulation. If it's not worth anything, then no one's going to really want to use it. And we're going to be forced to go into this digital arena. So it's just a matter of how long it takes for the cash to basically become, a nothing burger. It could be a few years yet. So it's great as a transition, but just remember what you're holding is not a store of value. It's not holding its value for future use. It's actually dissolving in value. So, but cryptocurrency is also going to be a great alternative to a central bank digital currency if they bring it out. And I actually am beginning to think now, some countries will probably bring it out, but I think most countries will bring out a stable coin first. And that, look, the stable coin could be just as bad as a central bank digital currency in many ways. So there's still going to be a risk there, but it's too early to tell what we're dealing with. But there's definitely a danger. Stable coins can be issued privately or by government. But if they're issued privately, I would say that there's going to be significant regulation that the government are going to bring in. And so we're going to have to watch that space. I'll pretty much explain the rest of this, so I'll move on. So this is what I've just been saying is leading into these different types of crypto. So a crypto coin is the coin like Bitcoin. It's a digital, it's not a physical coin, obviously. It's a digital coin, and it's always, should I say, on a native blockchain. It's on its own standalone blockchain. So with Ethereum, Ethereum has a standalone blockchain, but there are many, many cryptos that are built on top of Ethereum. We've got Polygon Matic, you've got Arbitrum, you've got, there's something like 4,000 projects, 4,000 projects with their own crypto built on Ethereum now. And so they are not native coins, they are referred to as tokens. So the problem with those layer 2s and layer 3s, there's even layer 3s, these tokens, they're very dependent upon the survival or the security of Ethereum. Ethereum is what they're based upon. So if Ethereum went down, those layer 2s would go down as well. If it's very good for Ethereum to have them based on there, but it doesn't give as much security to the token. So a native coin is a good way to go. And also a native coin will hold its value often because you have to purchase it to pay for the fees to do transacting. So another good example of that is Binance coin, BNB coin, that's over $500 now. I remember when it was $20, and I kind of ignored it because it's a centralized exchange, and I thought, I don't really want to be associated with a centralized exchange. But now it's gone on to be huge, and it's like a native token for the Binance platform. But also you've got to buy the Bitcoin. You've got to buy the Binance coin, the BNB coin, in order to buy it and sell it. So yeah, so that's how it gets to hold its value. And a stable coin is, as I've started to allude to, it is a digital form of fiat currency. Our money now is fully digital. It's all fully digital now. But the difference is it's held on a very antiquated computer in the banks. It is not on a blockchain. It's basically created by the bank's old software. And that is not safe. It's not secure. It's not safe at all. There's no real security there with our current money, especially when it's going online. Because you can see, the banks can stop the transactions, they can freeze your account. There's tons of things they can do when money is moving. So it's moving onto the blockchain, and obviously in a centralized blockchain, there's not going to be any more security. But at least we can try and hunt down other stable coins that are more secure, that do follow decentralized principles, and let's hope that they really start to prosper and survive. So the only difference with a CBDC and a stable coin is basically that a CBDC has the C in front, which is centrally bank created. But I believe some of these stable coins will be centrally bank controlled, and they will step back and be removed from it, but they will still be controlling it from a distance, much like how is happening now, like with our Reserve Bank. The Reserve Bank is supposed to be a government entity. It's actually privately owned, just the same as the Fed is privately owned. And they make out like they're government associated, but they're not. So they're just going to pull the same sort of trick with the CBDC and the stable coins, I think. It's all perception becomes our truth. So with the cryptocurrencies, with the real global currencies that we're looking at, and global payments and domestic payments, the ISO standard is going to be hugely important. That is the messaging rails that will send all the information of the payment, who it's going from, who it's going to, all the addresses, all the digital address, and obviously the amount and all of that, the dollar denomination that it's going to and stuff. And this messaging is different to the current SWIFT system in that it sends the payment and it sends the message almost simultaneously. Whereas now when you're sending money to, say, America from here in New Zealand, they send the message of the payment, but the actual payment it follows, sometimes days later, and it goes through multiple sets of hands. Whereas now with say XRP, it will happen in seconds. It will convert our digital New Zealand dollar to the US digital dollar, and it has a decentralized exchange in the middle that's built into the blockchain, so no middleman can get in the middle of that. It's totally The exchange mechanism is totally secure, and it's basically settling the payment as well. Whereas SWIFT, when you send money by SWIFT, the money comes from what they call a settlement bank. It goes from your bank to a settlement bank, and then I think it goes through another bank, or should I say the settlement bank's last, but it goes through their initial bank and then gets routed through these clearing banks, they call them, or settlement banks, before the other person gets paid. So it's a really slow, convoluted system, and a lot of people are profiting from that in the fees in between. So that is going to be eliminated, which is great. So the ISO standard is a big pillar of the open banking system. There's two sides to open banking, just like there's two sides to this world. And there's a side of open banking that is not respecting our privacy. What I'm coming to learn, there's much the same shenanigans going on in some aspects of that. But because it's linking in with crypto and blockchain, there is going to be a much more secure side. So it's a double-edged sword. And so this is why knowing this stuff and learning it is going to be very empowering for us. When this becomes live, and the knowledge I believe we're getting now is going to stand us in great stead when crypto goes live, which I believe will be 2025. This standard and a number of other standards, there's quite a few different standards that are going to do different functions within blockchain. But these standards are based on what they call APIs, and APIs are standing for Application Programming Interface. And they are the bridge. They are the coding. It's another type of algorithm that is joining up the dots between our crypto and fiat, and from the old banking system, out of their old computers, into the newer system they're creating, which is blockchain based. So they are the great joiners, and they can join up blockchain to blockchain, ledger to ledger, and currency to currency. And yeah, I'm sure there's plenty. They virtually can just about do anything. They can just about join anything to anything in the digital world. They'll be very important when it comes to tokenization. And all of this standard and these global payments, this is going to bring crypto to banks. Banks are going to have, eventually they're going to hold crypto. And they're going to hold crypto assets. And I reckon some of them will become custody of crypto on other people's behalf. Banks will hold it for an asset for themselves. That's when this whole space, this whole investment thesis is really going to accelerate. When banks have to start buying crypto because their existing system is basically over, when that literally crashes and burns, crypto is going to be the phoenix that rises out of that ash. And that's why crypto is so important as a future-looking investment. We just got in really early. We have to endure a lot of problems and challenges in the meantime, being so early. But better to be a couple of years early than a week too late. Because when this thing blows up, some of these prices of these tokens could potentially go from 40 cents to, $30 or $20 or whatever. It'll be explosive when it happens, because at some stage, the system and all the big investors and the population at large are going to all be diving in at pretty much the same time. So that is something to look forward to that might, help us to keep going. Just before I carry on, I'm just going to turn on the light. Won't be a sec. So why crypto? Well, I've just sort of given one good reason why, but what are the benefits of crypto and crypto tokens? Well, we can obviously transact peer to peer. That's anybody to anybody, person to person. And the more and more transacting that happens person to person, the less and less relevant central banks and other big commercial banks will be. And so what we're doing is we're taking energy away from them, and we'll become more of a people-based global peer-to-peer economy. When people start lending their own crypto out and borrowing and lending, when we start buying and selling assets and property without middlemen, and that's another major use case of crypto, because if you're sending an asset, you need crypto to move it. People need crypto to buy it or sell it. They receive it. So the tokenization of assets with crypto is like a marriage made in heaven there. So this is why the use case is going to determine the value of the crypto. If it's getting used in the real world in global ways like that, the sky is the limit, and even then it's not the limit. So there is massive things coming when this thing gets switched on. So that is a huge part of what underpins decentralization. Peer-to-peer transacting is a tenet of decentralization. Another key point of why crypto is the ability to self-custody your own money in your own wallet with your own seed phrase. And that is better than cash. That is way better than cash. The only difference is you got a little bit more responsibility involved in holding your own crypto in your own wallet. You've got to look after it. You got to make sure you protect your seed phrase. You've got to, make sure that you are, doing all the things you need to do to secure your money. Maybe you might want to have a hard wallet or whatever, but it's paramount that you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention, and you have to pay in responsibility for this. The crypto is really created by the people. It wasn't created by big business. Bitcoin, when it came out, may well have been created by a 3-letter agency, but it was released as open source code. It meant that as soon as that code was out, they were developing like crazy, and now we've got 500 different blockchains. Ethereum came next. Actually, XRP was also created out of the same code as Bitcoin, but it's obviously been modified. But XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum were the very, very earliest blockchains and front runners. And now we've got hundreds and hundreds of different blockchains and thousands of crypto, all come from one code called the blockchain of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ledger, as they call it. So that development has been happening by people. It has been happening by the people, for the people, and is not happening by big business. Big business were not involved in a lot of that early development. Maybe they're getting in now, but they still can't control the technology. They can only manipulate the price. For those like Ethereum is in a slightly different kettle of fish. It is more controlled, but it is still pretty good decentralized technology. I believe they're letting decentralized finance run because they're going to try and patrol they're going to be try and be gatekeepers and try and patrol the entry points and exit points. That's where stable coins come in. And so if we want to take profit, or we want to receive our funds, or we want to pay funds, they're going to try and direct us through their toll gates so that they can monitor. So this is where we're going to have to be a little bit more careful. And we have to be aware of what's happening there. Some other really great benefits to crypto is we get to choose our own currency without legal tender rules. That's a huge one. We have choice. We can get instant transacting globally across borders. So this crypto is borderless. It can be created in any country, but it can be used in every country. And we can't do that with our domestic currencies now. You can't just go and pay for something in America with New Zealand dollars. You can't, and basically the currencies that are created here are just for here, and they're controlled here. Whereas with crypto, they've got a lot less control. They have to get every country and every government in line, and that is not happening. They're not all agreeing on these rules. We've got very low fees, certainly a lot lower in many cases than the current system. In some cases, like Bitcoin, like XRP and XLM, it's a fraction of a cent to send. You can send like $1 million to America and it'll cost you maybe 5 or 10 cents. It's like crazy. But for most transactions, it's under a cent. And there's no middlemen in that. So that is a big part of the benefit. You get, with what fees that are generated, a lot of them are using those fees to distribute to the crypto and token holders, particularly the stakers as well. But with XRP, you're going to have the automated market maker, which is actually the mechanism that sits in the middle to do the exchanging mechanism, to do cross-border payments. They have this automated market maker in the middle, which basically enables people to get paid in whatever currency. And so you can submit some of your crypto to make that work. That's all based on providing the liquidity. You've got to have money sitting in the pot in the middle so that the transactions can happen smoothly, and you can get paid for that and in a passive way. And the same with the stakers who choose to lock up their tokens for a period of time. We're going to get not just one choice in currencies, we're going to have multiple choices of currencies to use. So it's going to be, we're going to be spoiled for choice in currencies we can accept, currencies we can pay in, and also in assets that we might want to invest in and that sort of thing. So there's going to be tons of choice. It's a big part of being free is having freedom of choice. Another key benefit of crypto is that we have the ability to audit the blockchains to make sure there's no backdoors. That's how they can scam you. They create a backdoor in the code so they can literally go in there and steal the funds. They have the ability to verify the code before releasing it, and you can test the code, what they call beta test, to a group. So the early beta testers often get paid in tokens to be the guinea pigs to make sure it all works properly, there's no bugs. And also that's when you make sure that there's no it's working the way it should, and there's no problems there. So that's a big factor that we don't get now in our current system. Then there's heaps more kinds of applications that you can get with crypto. It's not just currency and not just digital assets. You can also turn them into a digital voucher, like a giveaway voucher, a coupon, like a digital coupon. You can give crypto away as a freebie for buying something, say, or on special. You can create community-based tokens, community-based ownership. Say you could have a blockchain around, say, a community garden, for instance, or a sports club, or just any small town might create their own community token that they trade amongst themselves. There's heaps of options there. Also, another area is charity. Charities could effectively create their own token, or they could create their own blockchain and accept other tokens. You can get fractional ownership of an asset, and we're getting fractional ownership of a currency as well. So, like, you don't have to buy one whole Bitcoin at, say, 55,000 US dollars. You can buy down to 8 decimal points of that coin. So you can have fractional ownership of high-priced cryptos like that, or of assets, or like property, shared. You could go into a pool of your family or friends to buy a property, a house, or say a developer creates a new block of apartments, and people could then get fractional ownership of the whole apartment block, and then you get paid out through smart contract on the distribution of the rents. That's another example. You get a fractional ownership of your car even, or pretty much anything. And all the other key benefit is micro payments, minute payments. They're simply not viable in the current system. It'll cost you more to send the money for a small amount. But with blockchain, with XRP and XLM Stellar is particularly going after that market in India and Africa, and they are setting up big businesses there for micro payments. And it's obviously micro and cross-border payments for migrants. Migrants sending money back home is a huge area of adoption that is going to be massive. When all those people, all they need is a phone, and they can download the wallet, and then they're basically plugging into this global system. That's going to bring many, many hundreds and billions of dollars into the global market that wasn't there before. It probably even more than that. In the bigger picture of crypto and how it can affect us on a humanity level, it's important too. I like to look at that side. That's where I'm particularly interested, is, if we're getting to own and control our own money, our data as well, our postings, and we're controlling our own assets as well in tokenization. Assuming, of course, we're on a good blockchain that's decentralized, we've got definite issues that we have to watch with centralized systems. But I believe we're in the front running here, and the participation and the adoption is key. The more of us that are in it, the harder it is for them to stop. Well, it's impossible for them to stop, and it's harder and harder for them to actually regulate it the way they want. So that's what we've got to understand. The more of us that participate, the more this train is going to run away from the centralized system. So the crypto is always going to benefit depending on the quality of the blockchain it's built upon. That's where we've got to use our discernment and our research. Yeah, and I believe we'll have a centralized and a decentralized sort of system. They will run side by side, and there will be bridges between, because each will need the liquidity of each other, but they will be relatively separate, and we'll be able to, I believe, we'll be able to operate in our own decentralized kind of hub, while other people operate in their centralized system. And we'll still be going about and doing our business in the usual way, but there will be a big group of us that will have a lot more autonomy and freedom in our transacting and in our life in general. Other things like real assets and services will be tokenized, though that's going to be a huge shift when that happens, because crypto is going to be the medium of exchange to move those assets, to buy and sell and trade, let alone sending money around the world. We're sending assets around the world. That is like multiples bigger than global payments. That's hundreds of trillions of dollars of value. And we use the crypto as a currency, or we can hold it for capital gain. And DLT, which stands for Distributed Ledger Technology, which is the blockchain which the global payments currencies are based upon. That's where, if you want fast and cheap, then you use DLT. And by the way, the BRICS nations are using DLT. Everybody is using DLT at the highest level, because they want the speed and the cheapness as well. So it's going to be a huge area. And the ISOs, the aligned tokens with the ISOs will run on DLT. And now this is going to totally change the game for global payments. So just to give you a bit of a graphic of what I'm describing here, or what we're always alluding to in our teaching, is you can imagine your blockchain is at the very base here. This is like the roots of the tree. The blue block at the bottom is your layer 1 blockchains. It's your native blockchains, and that is where the protocols are. Remember, the protocols are the immutable code that can't be changed. They basically facilitate and run the blockchain and make the crypto possible. And when they are coded in a certain way, they always work in that certain way. And then above that, you could say the red layer is, say, the layer 2s. It could be the layer 2s, like the ones that are built on top of Ethereum or on top of Solana, or Avalanche, whatever. And then you've got the green layer. That's the networking layer. That's where the smart contracts come in. That's where the nodes operate, and the node holders and the validators securing the network by downloading the whole ledger. They download, all these different computers download the blockchain, and they are the ones who are responsible for ensuring the transactions are genuine. And the blockchain can automatically, if they're not all in agreement, if one computer is not in agreement with all the others, then it will automatically find the problem and out that transaction without humans even really having to be involved. So the code is like a self-healing mechanism. It's very, very cool. And then at the very top, this is where we interact with the crypto. This is all what we see, but this is where the crypto interacts. And you've got like dApps. That's where you have the dApps, the decentralized apps. When we put the little web address in and then we link our wallet, that's working with the digital wallets. This is where, we can interact with social media, decentralized finance, the lending and borrowing, the user interface is happening here, and any business or industry, this is where we will interact. So that's what the people and the public see, but they don't often understand what's going on underneath. And that's where the problem lies, is out of sight, out of mind. I often refer to blockchain and crypto as like it's like a forest, like how the roots of a tree are all communicating with each other. Each tree could be seen as a different blockchain, but they're all interoperable together. They're all working together. So yeah, that's it's just another analogy. Another analogy is like the seed. The seeds are like the fruit, or should I say the crypto is the fruit, sorry, of the blockchain seed. And I think it was Yeshua, Jesus said, you shall know it by its fruits. And you can apply that to the blockchain. You'll know the blockchain by how it actually works in the real world, by its fruits. And it's either going to be good or not so good. And that's where our experience of working with some of these platforms, where we get that knowledge. So it's very experiential. I've got another diagram here that I created for just explaining another way of, I call it the DeFi tree of life. And this again, like the roots, it's like, there's a saying in the Hermetic law of as above, so below. And that really applies to blockchain. So what's happening below in the blockchain will happen above in the crypto. And so I found this cool diagram. And then, this is what the Kabbalah and the esoteric traditions talking about the Kabbalah and the tree of life. They're really talking about, they're not talking about technology, but they're talking about this is a fundamental natural law of energy, really, and as above, so below. And, the chakra system and the different areas of life all could be mapped out on a tree. And you have the original seed, and then it grows into a tree. The branches are like the spreading out, if you like, of a project or the world. The leaves are like the leaves or the fruit. They are the harvest, what we harvest. So yeah, so there's just another analogy, and you've got just basically the same as the blockchain stack that I showed you before. And I'll just finish with, by the way, all these slides that I've created. Oh, I just realized that I've stuffed up and I haven't gone on slideshow. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting to go slideshow. Don't have Rama here anymore to remind me. Sorry about that. It was basically why I think crypto is inevitable. So yeah, why is crypto inevitable? Well, there's plenty of reasons, but one of them is that everyone is basically going to work in a digital online way. I mean, even if it's just to secure your money, your data, doesn't mean you have to live online, but blockchain is going to be very important, and the internet itself is going to be very important for pretty much everything. Work, play, supply chains, the money movement, asset protection, ownership, everything is going to come through online. People say to me, but what if the whole internet goes down? Well, the internet goes down everyone's offline. So really, it's not just affecting crypto, it's affecting everything. And so that's why I don't see it being down for long, because we'll all have to go back to basically hunter-gatherers, and I don't see that happening. It would cause way more problems than what we've got now with a digital system, that's for sure. Many rich people are driving decentralized finance and crypto. Many people are jumping into it. Like the adoption at the top and adoption at the bottom makes crypto absolutely inevitable. There's already 600 million people in crypto. It'll be over 1 billion people next year. And that's a serious force to be reckoned with. That's like an eighth of the population. So, it's going to be a juggernaut when eventually we're just waiting on the regulations, basically. So that's why I see this technology cannot be stopped. It literally cannot be stopped. Like blockchain, once you release a blockchain, it can't be stopped. It can definitely be isolated and mothballed, and it can be rendered obsolete. But the blue chip blockchain we're talking about, they are coming, and they're coming in strong and fast. Like it is a ground up development, but it is also a top down collapse. It's happening, it's collapsing at the top, and it's being built up from the bottom. So I kind of say that when the two meet in the middle, then there's your reset. And basically blockchain is the basis of a whole new world system. So it cannot be ignored. Denial is not a river in Egypt. Denial is just resistance of what is. And that people need to start thinking about that. Not you guys, but a lot of people out there just absolutely oblivious, and they just don't want to know. And I think that's a big mistake. So basically that is probably the end of my presentation today. Apologies again for not having the slides. I've got to remember that. If anyone has got a comment, something that you didn't understand, or got a question, feel free to ask before I disappear. I hope that gives a bit more clarity to the whole thing. So I figured that you were all good and everyone understood every single word I said. That's great. Oh, good. That's repetition is the mother of invention. It is really applicable in this case. It takes a while for it to start sinking in. But when it starts sinking in, when you start seeing it, you can't unsee it, as they say, as the saying goes. And that was like that for me too for years. It took me years before I really started to sink it as well. So yeah, no worries, Peter. Good one, Louise. Good on you for being here and wanting to learn. I appreciate that. You're doing yourself a service, that's for sure. Yeah, I will. Thank you, Carolyn. I will stop.